Hello, welcome to my review of the Mercedes-Benz SLR McLaren Roadster from 2007. This is an 18th scale die-cast model. It does have openings. Aside from being open, there is no roof that comes with this car, so you've obviously got the tonneau cover there, which is fixed, and actually has quite a nice sand style finish, textured finish, which does tend to show any dirt, so you might need a makeup brush to sweep that off now and then. But let's have a look at this model. Now, first things, overall proportions. I'm a fan of the overall proportions on this model. They've got, I would say, the wheel offsets correct, and arches and tyre sizes all just spot on. If we go to that angle, you'll see what I mean about how far the wheels and tyres are into the arches, into the wheel wells. So that's not a bad thing at all. Let's look at the exterior detail. So, looking at the headlights, we've got some good detail in there, and then we go under the nose of the car, and you've got the fake venting, which isn't opened, it is a solid plastic. But it's well done in the style of the car. While we're up close here, it's worth noting these shut lines between the bonnet and the front bumper. They're quite tidy. Now, CMC do an 18th scale of this car, not the Roadster, the fixed head coupe version, and in my mind, from the photos I've seen of that model, that shut line isn't as good. So while we're here, we'll look at the wheels. Not a polished wheel, but a painted wheel there, and we've got turning wheels. Let's see if that's reflected in the steering wheel. Does turn, but I'm not sure whether they're connected or not. I'd have to force that, and I'm not willing to do that. So as we go around the car, got the side vents there, and the front side exhaust, which is quite a radical thing to do. And we've got the bonnet vents, and then the windscreen wiper detail, which is good. Now, there is a dividing line there between the door, which opens up and is hinged off that A pillar of the windscreen, and it's not great, but of course you can't really get it much tighter than that. Same goes for that side. You know, when you've got two hinged moving parts there, it's not going to be straightforward. So we'll look at the door positions in a while, but on the whole the shut lines aren't bad there. And you've got the McLaren, the badge detail there, McLaren badge. Okay, so moving round to the back, we've got the rear lights, which are good, and then the reflectors in the rear bumper, possibly fog lights or reversing lights too, the relevant badging, SLR, the Mercedes badge. Okay, right, let's just look, before we look at the interior, let's look at opening this car. So the bonnet does come forward, as on all SLR McLarens, but it really only hinges up like that. On an actual car, it lifts up and forward, so the bonnet comes forward. So this is not an accurate rendition of the hinge, even though it is showing that it's front hinged, but it's not coming forward to give you that better access behind, like on the actual car. So that's a little bit disappointing. The other thing is that the doors don't come up as far as they should, so if you're an 18th scale person, there's no chance you'll get in this car very easily without sneaking in under the doors. So a little bit tricky there, the door openings. You're not really going to be able to get in there. Let's just check. Okay, it's gone a little bit further, but very little there. So no one's realistically going to get into that. Okay. and then the boot does open as well. So it's, you know, it's got a bit of a dramatic effect of the bonnet, doors and boot being open. Right, while we've got these open, let's start on some detail that's inside those openings. So we'll pop into the engine. Now the engine is this bit right at the back of the engine compartment, and it tucks under the dashboard there, really, because if you look at the dash, look how long that dash is, because the windscreen is so raked. So once you're to here and forwards, you're really looking at the intake. So that whole thing there is the intake. You've got a supercharger going on somewhere up there, not sure exactly where. So you've got a big airbox down in here. Reasonable detail. There's, you know, a couple of reservoirs up in the corner there. So nothing madly fantastic, but it's not too bad. Okay, and then if we look at the underside of the bonnet, you've got some reflective silver over the engine bit. There you have it. You don't get any kind of venting in there. I mean, there's that silver. Does it have a black line to represent? No, it doesn't. So there's no sign of a ventilation there. Oh, now, okay, there's a problem. I've just tried to shut that with the doors open, and it's hit the doors, so I'm just going to shut that door and that one, pop that down, and then come back to the cabin. So let's open that door so we can see a bit better inside. So, you know, we've got all the instruments and everything there, not too bad. The pedals and the footrest. Let's just check in that there. No, that's not a footrest, sorry, that is the accelerator pedal and the brake, because of course these were all automatic torque converter autos, because 2007 was really before PDKs were coming on strongly. All modern McLarens have PDK gearboxes, of course, and no manuals and no torque converters. But you've got some really nice seats in here. The model is representing them very nicely. Shells, I would say carbon fibre shells with minimal padding. But quite a nice, I'm a bit of a fan of red interiors. You can't really go, well, a lot of people say you can go a long way wrong with the red interior. There's the wind deflector at the back, or at least it stops the wind coming in from behind, and your roll hoops there. If we look across the car, we can see the door detail of the door card. Okay, fairly plain, but I guess there wasn't going to be too much on there in the first place. The door handle's really all you've got there. And then we'll look into the boot. Nothing to see here, of course, apart from the wheel arches and some kind of flocked, maybe, no, just hard plastic there, nothing to represent the carpet at all. You can hear that. Okay, so then let's look at the last place, underside of the car. No real detail, but then it was going to be a completely covered under tray there, so you know, we've got to accept that you're not going to get engine detail apart from the exhaust tips. A little bit of suspension detail in there. It isn't really working suspension. There is some movement in the wheels there, but it's not really working suspension. But you've got various knacker ducts there and the diffuser. But yeah, not bad really. These are roughly at the moment around £80 to £100 on eBay. They did then later bring out a silver coloured car, which I think is a bit more expensive, but the first versions of this were red, like this one. And oh, let's just look up on the roof rail there. You've got the attachment points for the roof. Anyway, so, and then they also did the 722, I think it was, or the Sterling Moss version, which had a fairly different body with little aero screens, if I remember rightly. But fairly hefty model, being an 18th scale metal model, not a resin model, and not too bad. But there are some paint imperfections up here on the boot lid. You might just catch that there, possibly, just not great. And on the front there's signs where the casting has got sanding marks from just not getting the casting stuff clean enough. So there's some imperfections there. Not too bad anyway. I'm a fan of this car. I've saw a couple up at or a few actually up at Brooklands at the Mercedes-Benz World near London, and they obviously sound great as well with the V8 and the supercharger howl, and then using the torque converter auto, just giving you that extra. You know, you can hear when someone puts their foot down because the revs rise a little bit. But certainly a nice car and a rare car too. They haven't really gone up in value, the real cars, as some other supercars and hypercars have gone. It's more of a GT than a super or a sports car anyway. But yeah, I've had this for some years. I've got the 43rd scale of this from Minichamps in red as well, which is a nice car, but that's the coupe one, and I think I'll keep that one and get rid of this one. I'm moving more to 43rd scale, to be honest. So there we go. More videos like this. Do visit my buynowsearch.com eBay search tool to get notified by email of newly listed fixed price items. Do subscribe to the channel and look out some of my other 18th, 43rd and 12th scale model reviews. Thanks for watching. There's a little added extra actually. I'm going to show you the box, and it's a nicely done box in the Minichamps way, with an image of the model itself on the outside. So there we go.